It's days like today that I become actually pretty upset with crypto and in general feel extremely bad because I start to see the biggest scam of the markets taking effect on average people, which is effectively that wherever you are in the market, at one point, belief and understanding of what comes next in the market becomes overwhelming, the information far too powerful. And of course, the average individual small investor feels an overwhelming pressure to capitulate into the beliefs of really the macro, of the flavor of the month. And usually, almost every time, not always, but usually that is a sign that the market's actually reversing and that particular direction, that particular emotion is actually not necessarily what's going to happen next. And this is the biggest scam of the markets. And today I feel the capitulation setting in. And the reality is that we've called for a second wave of capitulation on this channel, and I still believe it's going to happen. But I see that second wave of capitulation as the time to start getting very interested, to start turning on, to start focusing even harder on crypto. And what I know to be the case is that second wave of capitulation that we're going to be looking at will drive everybody, or like a lot of people, away from crypto. And I can feel it. I can feel the emotion turning. I can see it in the hearts and minds, in the tweets, in the emotion of the industry. And it hurts because the reality is that this is the big scam, is that once you get to the moments that you really should be paying attention, the market tricks you and scams you into going away, into selling, into just ignoring it because the information is too painful. And this is what really hurts, is that, you see the market coming down, Bitcoin under $30,000. Remember, if you liked Bitcoin at $67,000, then there's nothing different about Bitcoin today. There's absolutely zero things about Bitcoin that are different today, and there won't be anything different about Bitcoin tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. Bitcoin's not changing. So to me, seeing that Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies and projects become completely unattractive in the bear market is, to me, a sign of feeling bad. I'm getting upset because I want on this channel to create an audience that is constantly challenging status quo, constantly asking what comes next, constantly trying to think one or two steps ahead of the game. And of course, the more you think like patient money, the more you think like money that doesn't panic during crashes and crises, but sees them as opportunities, the more, in my opinion, and data has reflected, that you will over time grow a portfolio. Again, this is an opinion. This has been proven out in data that counter trading, that effectively buying more during crashes of long-lasting durable assets is a good thing. But I'm frustrated because at the market top, no matter how many times we scream to take profits, no matter how many times I try to lay out sort of mentalities to use, again, I'm not perfect. I lost money at the top too from my all-time high portfolio. You guys don't even want to know what that number was, but believe me, I'm way down, like astronomically down. However, I did take enough profits that I'm okay. And that's really the goal. And even through this cycle, I got distanced from some of my core principles because the bull market was just so strong. It was so crazy. But it's important to realize that having these frameworks and understanding that this is the time when there's blood on the streets, when people are freaking out, when the narrative seems so overwhelmingly bearish, how could it get worse? Well, the reality is that the long-term trends that are informing that and sort of the underpinnings of this digital revolution of cryptocurrency, of blockchain, of NFTs, of metaverse, these things are multi-decade trends. These things are massive changes in society that have nothing to do with these charts. And yet these charts drive people away from being a part of this stuff. And so in my opinion, where we're at is this inflection point where once again, we're going to see the people who put in the work over the next few months, could be years, actually end up with this astronomical reward. And I believe that we're coming into that opportunity zone where it seems so bad, it seems so rotten and stale. And that's usually the point where people finally make their decision to sell. And really what the deal is you're already late if you're selling at the point of max pain. The point of max pain is usually the pivot point. So selling at the point of max pain is precisely the scam of the market. Whereas I'm not telling you to buy or go crazy because that is risk and nobody knows what the next few months of the market hold. But I can tell you this much. I do believe that what we're looking at is an increasing risk reward setup where the really important technological innovations of our generation, of our time, are currently entering into wild and drastic undervaluing. I mean, software runs our world, technology runs our world, and blockchain is a solution to so many issues in the world. That's not changing. We also see other high growth tech industries, robotics, genome sequencing. If you're a fan of ARC or Cathie Wood, all of these technologies are going to change the way our everyday life works, and that's not going to stop based on a momentary crash. So separating the sort of temporary noise from the long-term signal, understanding where the value truly is, that is a superpower over the next few months and years. And it is going to be super hard for people to actually act on that, because at a certain point, it doesn't matter how much you believe in something or want to believe in it. If you've mismanaged your portfolio and there's just nothing to spend, and then, we have inflation, we have everyday life getting harder. And I just feel bad. I feel like this cryptocurrency market and really the investment markets are just so scamming people right now, and it hurts to watch. But the reality is, I'm just one person. This is just my opinion, but I do believe that we're coming into these value zones, maybe down around Bitcoin at 20K. If it does get that low, it's pretty hard to imagine that that's not an astronomically valuable place to be, at least averaging in little bits here and there into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Because at those levels, we're starting to see some pretty massive changes. I'll go through some news of the day. We definitely have some major bear market rallies of the past. Definitely, you want to be tracking these and understanding that bear market rallies do happen, and that's kind of what's happening in the stocks. And this is being classified as a relief bounce. But what's really interesting is that we see that consumer sentiment is rock bottom. We've only seen consumer sentiment here. A study from the University of Michigan this low in the absolute depths of the worst sort of recessions of the last 30 years. And so to think that things are going to get dramatically, astronomically worse than this, you're essentially betting that we're going into the most extreme territory we've been in maybe history, right? And so I believe that we are in extreme territory already. And so to think that things are going to get double, triple as bad as they are now, I think that now you effectively become the sucker, you become the bait for the other side of the narrative. Just like we were overly bullish potentially at the top, just like we were, that's when you get overly bearish towards the bottom. And the market does this. It plays with your emotions. When you're up at the top, it seems like nothing can stop the momentum. And when you're down at the bottom, it seems like nothing can stop the momentum. And so you go aggressive in at the top and you pull aggressive out at the bottom. It's the classic buy high, sell low. I just feel like it's just sad, because as much as I know that some smart big brains will get through this, and that some of you watching will, be able to sort of put your emotions on the side, think strategically, not go and do 100% moves, full buy, full sell, scale in, scale out, in responsible ways, put the playbook into action. The reality is a lot of people won't, and this emotion of the market is just so powerful. You see this emotion in consumer sentiment. Look at this, historic lows dating back to like 1990, right? We also had ETH had a tough week. Effectively, there was negative merge news, which was then later debunked, but the damage was done. And then you had concerns about DeFi and NFT activity essentially drying up, which we all know happens, right? When it's a bull market and these new innovations are getting a ton of traction, Ethereum is the platform on which they live, the platform on which they breathe for the most part. Obviously, we have Sol and AVAX and other stuff, not discounting that. But I'm saying that Ethereum narrative starts to really, it's like reflexive on the way up and it's reflexive on the way down. But does it mean that ETH is still not one of the most important innovations in the history of our modern society? No, of course it is, right? So these are the things that kind of piss me off. I know today's just kind of a ranty episode, but as things get really, really bad here, as we start to plunge into these low 20,000s, territory, I can't help but get really excited, as I feel for the first time in a very long time, as though it's hard to not see value here. When we were at the peak of the metaverse run, remember I said, look, like this is super exciting. Things are going 100x. Right? But the real goal here is just to get a little bit of profit, 2x, 3x before this winter hits. And winter hit, and it certainly did. Definitely no one was saved. I didn't play this perfectly, right? I didn't sell the peak in November, right? However, the reality is that I really hope that collectively, people are able to just control their emotions over this next few, months. Really is going to be the key moment. But really, it could be a slow process over the next few years, because these trends are not stopping. Crypto and blockchain and all of this amazing tech that we're building, these digital movements are only strengthening over time. And the reality is I want people to be there for it, because I've gotten my booty handed to me, as I've said so many times, by the market. But the fact is I stuck around, I didn't give up, and I was there for the good times. And I was there when my calculated sort of risk management, probability-based strategy ended up paying out. And I hope the audience has that experience as well. I'll be here each and every step of the way, but I just wanted to vent a little bit about how I'm, pretty sad to see the emotion getting so dismal, so down, and it feels as though this is really the great scam of the markets, is it just plays with your emotions. And I feel like we have that one sort of next capitulation wave ahead of us, which is that retail are going to give up, crypto and stocks. There was a huge report that came out that showed that, retail are keeping the stock market up right now, that they're the ones diamond handing. And that's pretty scary because retail are known to capitulate even more than institutions. And so it's going to be pretty interesting to see over the next few months. I think there is definitely another blow, another wound. But I feel like if people respond to that wound and think, well, we got hit hard again, that's it. It's over. I'm over. I'm never paying attention to stuff again. I feel like that's the trap. And the trap is that the people who see that as the pivot point, as opposed to, a new trend, that's when you start to realize, oh no, we've been in this downtrend since November. If we finish it up in, August or October, that's almost a year of nonstop blood on the highway for crypto, for stocks. That's a lot. That's a lot of downtrend. And even if we don't reverse it immediately, but just go sideways until we can kind of like create a new market structure, that is where I think the real opportunity is as the market takes yet another plunge. If it does do that, I think the real opportunity is seeing that there is a lot of volume coming in. There is a lot of Bitcoin and crypto changing hands. And that I do believe that the long-term sort of buyers of last resort, the true long-term crypto believers will start stepping in here, and we'll see once again, the patient money start to get really, really rewarded. Again, no time horizons. This stuff can take its time to work out. But I just wanted to vent about what I think of as a scam, right? Which is I hope people are able to at least, stay paying attention, stay mentally, emotionally engaged with the momentum, the movement that is crypto, because that is the magic. And over time, people who do that, who just stay focused on this industry, end up winning. And I want you to be one of those people who wins. Again, anything could happen in the future. It's just my opinion. But I sincerely hope it helps. And I'll be walking my talk and telling you when I buy stuff. And again, just keeping the momentum here, because as long as we stick together as communities, we can get through this. But the reality is they pull us apart. Everyone just starts infighting. And then everyone just starts thinking crypto is inherently flawed. Well, that's when people leave, and they won't come back until the market's already overheated and, up only. And it seems like free money again, which is, of course, another scam of the market, because nothing is free. When it seems like free money, it's time to sell. When it seems like things couldn't get any worse, maybe, just maybe it's time to buy. Anyway, I'm EllioTrades. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm going to be doing my best to just keep the content flowing during this bear market, whether it's emotional, data-driven, sort of long-term vision, literally things that I'm doing on a short-term time frame. I'm going to keep you up to date with all of it, because these are the champion innings. This is where the real work happens, and I'm excited to do it with you all. Anyways, I'm EllioTrades. See you soon on the next episode. Bye.